All right, chapter 5. He had never thought that he could feel so superior about it. Now it seemed to him worth all the money and the pangs of separation. My son is in America, he said to dozens of persons every day, puffing with pride on each occasion. So what has happened now? In chapter 5 starts with the revelation, right? It's a revelation is there. Now Mali has reached America, right? My son is in America. So he had never thought, means who is he here? Jagan, the father, had never thought that he could feel so superior about it. Uh, like the idea of Mali going to America didn't occur to Jagan previously that would make him feel so better right now. Like he feels so superior. In other words, he felt like it's good for his status quo. It's good for him. It's like it make him feel good. That's the idea. Make him feel superior. Make him feel fine about it. Right now, it seemed to him that worth all the money and the pangs of separation. Now this incident of Mali is going to America. Mali has gone to America. Looked to him, appeared to him, seemed to him with all the money. Those mean like there's a cost, there's incurring cost. Jagan had to bear to send his child, to send Mali to America, right? So now it's worth it. He feels like now it's okay. He's fine with the idea, right? Uh, and again, it's worth the pangs of separation. What do you mean by pang? Pang is some kind of a pain, a sharp, acute kind of a pain is called a pang, right? So, separating from his son was a painful experience for the father. But still, after all, right now, he feels good about it. So he feels superior about it because his son is in America, right? It's a good thing for him, right? Like he take it very personally. That's the idea. My son is in America, he said to dozens of people every day. Like dozens of people. You know what's a dozen, right? How many? Dozens of people, maybe more than 12 people, right? Dozens of people every day, puffing with pride. Puffing means again another word for swelling, or just growing, or just expanding. Puffing with pride, just getting bigger and bigger with pride, puffing with pride on each occasion that he's saying that his son is in America to any person, right? It delayed his daily routine. Sometimes his daily routine means like going into the shop on the right time. Yeah, it was delayed because he was talking with people and he was saying that my son is in America, right? On his way to the shop, he had to detect the slightest acquaintance on the road, and he would block his path, and instead of discussing weather or politics, as was his custom, would lead to the talk on gently to the topic of America and of his son's presence there, right? So in case like he sees the slightest acquaintance. What do you mean slight? Acquaintance is, I told you, right? You know someone is called mean by the word acquaintance, right? You have to write these things on the spot if you don't know, because these are recurring words, right? They'll be just appearing and reappearing and repeating through the text. So just make sure that you nail the meaning. In the first instance, you get these kind of words, right? So the slightest acquaintance means the slightest, if Jagan, in other words, if Jagan see a person that he slightly know, he's slightly acquainted with on the road, චුට්ටක් හරි අඳුරනවා දැකලා තියෙනවා අඳුරනවා නම් ටක් ගාලා නවතනවා, right? On the road, and he would block his path. Like block his path means if he is trying to go somewhere, right? He immediately come on that road. Like he's just like standing face to face, maybe block his path, and instead of discussing weather or politics as was his custom, because in old days, like if he met someone, they are normally talking about weather or politics, right? Was his custom. That's how what people do mostly, right? If people don't know each other but still want to be sociable, when they meet each other on the street or anywhere, either they talk about cricket, or either they talk about politics, or either they talk about weather, right? Other than that, when slightly known people just get together, they don't talk about their personal appearances or the business status, right? So these are things normally strangers talk about, right? You can observe these things, and this is real, right? This is a real experience. So anyway, in old days, when he see people that he slightly know, he talk about these things, but now he definitely slowly shift would lead to the top gently. I mean, like nine in a way, he enters to the topic to say that his son is in America and of his son's presence there in that country, right? So this shows again another character flaw of a character kind of a deficiency of Jagan, right? So he's moved by the fact that Mali has gone. It's like a privilege thing for him just to outshine among his community. මගේ කොල්ල ඇමරිකාවේනේ හැම කෙනාටම කියනවා. මොකද that makes him feel good, that makes him feel special. I call America, right? That's the idea. After days and days of hopeless waiting, when a colorful air letter had arrived by post, he had almost felt the same joy as Mali had come back. All right. So after some time, right, after days and days of hopeless waiting, and he was waiting for Mali to reply, right? But there was no reply for this time. And suddenly, when a colorful air letter, an air mail, right? This, air mails, if you have seen that, those envelopes and, this structure of the air mails are different from the regular mail, right? Regular mail, we have this, kind of shitty, kind of, uninteresting, dull kind of envelopes. But when it comes to airmail, it's a different league, it's a different class there, right? So now he receives a colorful air letter, had arrived by post. He had almost felt the same joy as Mali has come back when he received that letter. Oh my God, he felt happy that like as if Mali has come to back home, right from America. Like that's what father was waiting for so long, but he didn't receive this letter, right? He hardly had the patience to read the printed instruction to open cut here. I mean, like, she's so excited. අර ආපු ගමන් ලෙටර් එක ආපු ගමන් ජොලිය වැඩි දැන් තාත්තට. ඒ කියන්නේ තාත්තා කික් වෙලා සමහරවිට දැන් මෙහෙම දේවල් එනවනේ දැන් just like the idea is like මේ සමහරවිට ජොලිය වැඩි වුණාම ඩෙනිම පිටින් පොල් ගහට නගින්න පුළුවන් right. එහෙම දේවල් තියෙනවා right. ඒ සතුට වැඩි කමට. ඉතින් ඒ වගේ තත්ත්වයක් තමයි මෙතන තියෙන්නේ. Like he hardly had the patience to read the printed instruction to open cut here. In the airmail letter, there's a certain place that they are printing nowadays. They have the scissor sign, right? You've seen it, right? Just to cut here, so you have to cut that from that opening, right? So he didn't read that. He didn't have the patience. So he had this nonchalance just to read those things. So what happened was he thrust his finger desperately and gashed the letter until split longitudinally. So what happened is like he's so impatient. He got the letters. Right? කපන්න ඕන දෙන්නේ මේ කැපුවේ අර කොහෙන්ද දැම්ම ඇඟිල්ල දාලා ඉරලා ගත්තා and the split longitudinally like what are longitudes, right? Longitudes are this like this from north to south. In the maps you see in these imaginary lines, right? Imaginary lines from north to south are called longitudes, right? And in this I mean like it's kind of opposite to what we call this equator, right? Equator is not, it's from north to, I mean like some this lines, right? From it's just like horizontal. Longitude is kind of just like from top to bottom, right? It's from north to south. So he instead, you can remember, you can get this idea. Try to visualize. Now this is the shape of an air letter. Just imagine, okay, right? We'll see like, so if imagine this is a big thing, right? This is the shape of an air letter, right? It's just like a rectangle. So this is where it says normally cut from here. When you cut from here, what happens is you can take the letter outside. But because Jagan was in so hurry, he didn't read the instructions, cut from here. What he did was he put the finger somewhere around and just toe it on longitudinally, right? So that's what happened longitudinally. generally he just cut, I mean, like he pulled off the thing. And what happened, what was the result of that drastic or just, sudden action was forcing him to piece it together like a jigsaw puzzle for deciphering. I mean, like, because he just pulled it right in the wrong direction. I mean, the letter was also torn in the same way, right? It was not just that you can read the letter in the regular way. And a letter got irregular, right? And it was like a jigsaw puzzle for deciphering. Was it a puzzle, right? When in a puzzle you have a nice picture, but when you just jumble it, right, you get a set of things that you have to put together just to get the shape again, right? And deciphering means just to decoding. Just to get decoding means here deciphering means just to understand the letters clearly in the Mali's letter. He had to put them together, right, in a different way. He has to rearrange them, right? ඒ කියන්නේ දැන් කොලේ කෑලි කෑලි ගිහිල්ලා දැන් ඒ කොල කෑලි කෑලි එකට තියලා අමුණලා පුට්ටු කරලා තමයි ඇතුලේ තියෙන මැසේජ් එක තේරුම් ගන්න. Deciphering means just like that's what called decoding. Deciphering means how to understand a message, right? That's the word, right? So now the message simply said, "Right, New York is big, the buildings are very tall, not like ours. Thousands of motor cars in the street, food is difficult, I am in a hostel, next week I go to school." I mean, that's the message, right? That's it, right? Arrive means I have come to New York. New York is big, buildings are very tall, not like ours. Our buildings are not that tall, right? He's probably referring to maybe skyscrapers, right? You know what are skyscrapers? These are tall buildings that reach to the sky, right? Not like ours. Thousands of motor cars are in the street, not like Malgudi. Malgudi have few motor cars. Now here it's different, totally different. It's a cosmopolitan city. Malgudi is just a village, right? And most cars are in the street. Food is difficult. I'm in a hostel. I mean, like, food is difficult means food is not easy. Supplying of food, right? Because maybe he is Jagan. I mean, like, Small is used to his national kind of taste, right? But here the food is difficult means maybe food is finding the food is little hard. Maybe the taste is little different. Maybe he has to adjust to the food, right? This comes as part of culture shock, right? I'm in a hostel. He has had find his accommodation. In other words, right? Next week I go to school, right? Next week I'm going to start my schooling at this place where they are teaching how to write novels, right? Jagan read it with pleasure. Oh my God, Jagan is reading this letter with happiness, right? Pleasure. Although he was somewhat disturbed at the boy's mention of the school rather than college, right? Again, this Jagan has this problem, right? We found it right previously. Jagan don't hate the word school. School කියන එක හරිය මදි පුංචි කමක් විදියට. College. Always he wants this word to be appear college, right? Maybe R.K. Narayan is joking at. I mean, like, we have this inferiority complex in our situation too. Like, though we laugh at Jagan for his character flaw, right? Even some of our parents, right, has this thing. I mean, like, imagine your parents, imagine your situation, right? No one likes you. I mean, like, your parents dislike just to send you to the gummy school, right? Gummy school යන එක පොඩ්ඩක් මදි කමක් නෙනේ. යන්න ඕනේ just to the town school. ජාතික පාසලට යන්න ඕනේ, or national school, or just a kind of a school that has a social status, right? Royal එකට යන්න ඕන, නැත්නම් museums එකට යන්න ඕන. එතකොට තමයි ඒක කික් එක. එතකොට තමයි කියන්න පුළුවන් දෙමාපියෙකුට කට ඇරලා මගේ කෙල්ල යන්නේ රෝයල්, මගේ කෙල්ල යන්නේ museums එකට, මගේ කොල්ල යන්නේ royal එකට. ඒ කියන්නේ තත්තර නිකන් එතකොට නිකන් it's good, right? It stacks to the it adds to the status quo. So in other words, like, that's the same thing in a different context, right? Here it's like, so now you get it, right? So he's saying, like, college, not school. So that's why he feel like, when he feel little bit upset when Mali wrote in his letter he's going to school. No, it should be college, right? School rather than college. It had arrived by the first post. I mean, like, this letter has reached Jagan by the first post, and he sat on the hole beneath he has sat on the whole bench and pored over it for nearly an hour. Uh, Poured. I mean, like, what we mean here is like, he spent his attention. He spent some time, or he read it carefully. He gave his undivided attention on this letter, right? Over for it nearly an hour, almost like 1 hour. He was reading this small text, right? Reading and over reading, maybe, right? For Poe, yeah. Poured for over nearly 1 hour, scanning every word and visualizing Mali in that enormous background, scanning every word, carefully reading every word, right? We are very carefully reading every word in this letter. It's not a lengthy letter even, right? This is, you saw the text, right? You heard the text. I mean, like, see, very little, but still Jagan is reading each line, each word very carefully, just like it was some sacred text, right? When we find those things in the Bible, we pay, very careful attention to the words in the Bible, right? Try to, it's like what God has said, right? In the same way, in a kind of an indirect way, like Jagan is reading these letters in the same way, right? He sat on the bench and pored over it for nearly an hour, scanning every word and visualizing Mal in that enormous background. So he's trying to imagine Mal in among these big buildings, in a place where there are a lot of motor cars, right? And it kind of a very different place where food is different, right? Things. So he's just mentally visualizing the image and Mali and in this different background, right? He could not keep the good news to himself. Now there's another problem. Then තාත්තට තව අවුලක් වෙනවා. තාත්තට දැන් ඒක තනියෙන් හිතේ තියාගෙන ඉන්න බෑ. Then තමයි just the most funny and ridiculous, and I mean, like, the dramatic part starts, right? He could not keep the good news to himself. The first entrance upon of him was the truth printing works. The first place he wanted to divulge or reveal or say this information about Mali and Mali's letter and Mali's situation was Nataraj in the truth printing works, right? Nataraj was at his desk at very affable and welcoming visitors, and Nataraj in his shop, right? Yes, is a friendly man. Affable means a friendly man, amicable man, and welcoming visitors, right? He's welcoming his customers. So whoever this visit the shop, he's a very friendly man. Talks. He's not a recluse. He's not a like a antisocial person. So he's a very good person, right? Nataraj. So he's welcoming visitors. And the door was only half open at his shop. When the light was blocked, Nataraj looked up from his proof and smiled immediately. Jagan made the announcement, Mali has reached. I mean, like, Nataraj is doing his work, right? Keeping his head low. But suddenly the light is blocked. Then he knew someone has come. Nataraj looked and he saw Jagan is in front of him, and he smiled as usual. And Jagan also said, Mali has reached, Mali has gone, right? Have you received a telegram? Asked Nataraj. Did you receive a telegram from Mali? So what is the difference between telegram and a air letter? Telegram is a kind of an instant way of informing in those days, right? We are talking about 1960s. Don't forget the context, right? Nowadays, you don't need telegrams. You can simply send a SMS or just a Viber image or a Viber message or Viber talks, right? Or, you have numerous other means of, softwares just to do a kind of a very instant talking, right? So in those days, it was not like that. They didn't even have these mobile phones and anything, right? So they have to wait for the like the telegram, just to get the latest and the fastest way of communication. So it's still it's kind of a little expensive than the air letter, right? That's another thing. So this Nataraj asked, did you get a telegram from your son? Oh no, he's prudent. Won't waste 10 rupees when 10 cents. Any idea how much cent is worth in our money? No. My boy didn't send me a telegram. He's prudent. He's very rational. He uses his brain. In other words, right? He is very rational. He's very smart. Prudent means, like, he's thinking. He's a thinking kid. He's not a dumb mutt, right? In other words, right? He's prudent. Don't waste 10 rupees when 10 cents. I mean, like, he will not spend 10 rupees when he can spend 10 cents. For Telegram, you have to spend like 10 rupees. For Telegram, it's like, I mean, like, for Telegram, it's 10 rupees. For a air letter, it's lesser. So that's what he says. Like, won't waste 10 rupees when 10 cents. If he can do the thing with 10 cents, he'll do it 10 cents. He don't spend excessively. Doesn't Mali spend excessively? Uh, think about it, right? Think about the past things that we have come across. Is Mali a kind of frugal or very careful person when he's spending money, right? Father is giving a different picture here, right? Any idea how much sense is worth in our money? I mean, like, Nataraj, do you have any idea like what is a cent worth in our money? Like how much American cent worth in Indian rupees, right? You have to do the calculation, right? Yes, this exchange rate is there, right? For example, like $1, how much it equals in Sri Lankan rupees for the moment? It's like somewhere close to 200 rupees, right? It's not 200, but still at this moment, at the dawn of this 2021, right? It's somewhere close to 200, like 190 or something. So you have to do the calculation just to find out what's the difference between these two currencies, right? That's what he asks. Like, do you know exactly what's the difference, right, between our cents worth, their cent worth, American cent worth in Indian money? Nataraj made a rapid calculation, right? Nataraj tried to do a rapid, mean fast calculation, a conversion, right? A dollar was equivalent to 5 rupees, 7 rupees on the black market. So Nataraj is saying, okay, a dollar equals 5 rupees. I mean, like a dollar is $1 is 5 Indian rupees in 1960s. Yeah, somewhere around 1960s, right? Now it's different. Even Indian rupee is strong compared to Sri Lankan rupee, right? One Indian rupee is something equal to somewhere around three, approximately somewhere around three Sri Lankan rupees. The exact point should be somewhere around 2 point something like that, right? 5, 6, 7, or I don't know, right? So now at that time, even Indian rupee was strong compared to the dollar. This difference was not that high, right? So he was trying to do the calculation, and in the black market, it's like 7 rupees is $1, and his customers told him 4 rupees would, according to the government, it's the difference between the black market is like, they are in the black market, things get sold to a higher amount, right? So why we call this a black market? It's why it's not a regular market, because the black market, black things in society are always things that the government doesn't get paid taxes, right? Every transaction, the government has to receive an amount as taxes, right? If the amount is not received, it's mostly black transactions, right? What's the difference? Why whiskey is legal and moonshine is illegal? Like, whiskey මිනිස්සුන්ට ගන්න හොඳයි සමාජයේ කසිප්පු තාන. ඇයි? The real reason is, this moonshine is not regulated by the government. I mean, like, there's no standards and there's no regulation, so people are not paying taxes. So that's why it's black market, right? It's just like underneath the market, it's kind of illegal stuff, right? So that's the idea. So we keep those things aside, technicalities. The odd, according to the government, 100 cents to a dollar, and now Nataraj is doing the calculation, right? $100, I mean, like 100 cents to a dollar. Right, he's doing the calculation here. He gave up the attempt at multiplication. I mean, like, he couldn't do the calculation, right? He just abandoned it. He just deserted the calculation, multiplication and division, and thought it's best to change the subject immediately. He didn't want to give the answer to Jagan, right, the conversion rate, and he just abandoned it. He changed the subject. You will be getting your proofs very soon, he said to Jagan, right? Changing the subject now, saying like, Jagan, I'm planning to give you the manuscripts. I mean, like, the proof soon. Proof means after the first draft, right? Then he has to go through it again and do the corrections and resubmit it for a final print, right? So that's what he says. I'll give you the proof soon, right? Of his book, Jagan's book, Nature Cure, right? Uh, oh, yes, I know once you take it up, you will get on with it. As you know, it is a contribution and a service and not return for profit. Yeah, yeah, I know you will do it, said Jagan to Nataraj. I mean, like, it's most like a contribution. It's like something we do with good faith, right? It's something we give, contribution can die up there, right? It's like, yes. And a service. I have explained this word service earlier very clearly, and not return for profit. I'm not doing this for money, right? After this statement, he switched over to America. After that, the usual talk. He always like to talk about America now. You have note that, okay? He's and he started talking about America. Has Jagan been to America? No. Has Jagan any idea about America? No. How does he know about America? From the details, very little, I'm like very truncate or very limited, very little information that he found in his text. This very little words is enough for him as information, right? To speak about America. What if Jagan had Google, right? Like nowadays, this guy will just go crazy. අර සමහර යනෝනේ කතරගම ගිහිල්ලා බාරොප්පු කරන්නනේ අර නිකන් ඒ දේවාලේ වටේ බල්ටි ගහ ගහ යනවනේ දේවාලේ වටේ ඒ වගේ තමයි ජේගන්ට අඩුම ගන්න Google තිබ්බනම් ඒ කාලේ ඇමරිකාව ගැන just if you can find out these things මේක මෙතන තොවිලයක් නටන මේ ලියුමක් කියවලා මෙහෙම නම් right just think about those things we'll find very funny things are coming in the future right right after this statement he switched to America. He switched the subject. Now he tried to talk about America. It's a place of enormous buildings and lots of motor cars. He says to Nataraj, right? America is a big place with a lot of motor cars and big buildings, right? I hope boy will have a room on the ground floor and not the high up. I mean, like, I think because there are big buildings in America, right? I think Mali will get a room in the lower floor of a building, not that top floor of a building, because it's very hard just to get onto the top buildings, right? In the top, I mean, like the top rooms of a big building. So it's always easy just to be in the lower floors, right? And not go high up. And listening to this, so all stuff, stupid stuff, right? We know this. There are lifts and everything, right? Jagan don't know those things. He thinks like the son has to climb stairs and everything, right? So that's why we laugh on these things, right? Our boys are now Nataraj also adds to it, right? Our boys are very clever, said Nataraj. Our Indian boys are very clever and can take care of themselves anywhere in the world. Anywhere our boys go in the world, or either America or just any other country, our boys know how to adapt. Our boys are clever. They can immediately pick up the lifestyle. So don't worry about things, right? That's what he's saying. Accepting this agreeable statement, Jagan liked these kind of statements when it comes from strangers to him, right? Because those statements are pleasing his ears, right? It's like I told you, he is very he get charged with kind of flatteries, right? Accepting this agreeable statement, Jagan withdrew from the doorway and proceeded towards the shop. After this, right, he smiled and almost like left Nataraj's place, and he was now walking to the shop. On the way, he caught a glimpse of the adjournment lawyer, and while he was going to the shop now, he saw another guy in Malgudi. There's another acquaintance. It's a person he knows, right? Adjournment. Adjournment means something, if you don't know, just of course, right? We'll write down the meaning. Write this down. A termination of meeting is called adjournment lawyer. I mean, like, okay, the idea here is like it may be a kind of a divorce lawyer, right? That's the idea. Kind of adjournment. Adjournment means in dictionary it says like the termination of a meeting or kind of a dissolution. But the idea here is in the context, a kind of a marriage lawyer, kind of a divorce lawyer, kind of. He's doing these kind of things, right? These legal aspects of it. So the adjournment lawyer at the turning of Kabir Lane, I mean, like in the Kabir Lane, Jagan saw this lawyer and he's happy. He clapped his hands and stopped him. I mean, like, Jagan claps his hand and stops the lawyer, right? I mean, like, see his reaction. That man is passing by. මේ යන මිනිස්සු අප්පුඩි ගාලා නවත්තලා ඇමරිකාව ගැන කියන්න තමයි මේ කැසිල්ල තියෙන්නේ දැන් ජයගන්න, right? මේක මාර උණක් දැන් මේක නිකන් අපි වගේ වාසාවෙන් කියන්නේ just like here. දැන් මේක උණක් වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. මේක දැන් මේක පිස්සුවක් වෙලා, right? Something like that, right? So he clapped his hands and stopped him. He could take the liberty with him as they had been in classmates at the Albert Mission more than a generation ago, had been together in national movement, although the lawyer elegantly avoided going to prison. So, I mean, like, his acquaintance, not only just a regular acquaintance, I mean, like, from the school days, he knew this person, right? Before he was a lawyer even, right? And they were in the national movement of Mahatma Gandhi. They fought together. But anyway, Jagan went to jail, but lawyer was smart. For some reason, he had avoided going to jail or going to prison, right? He's a smart guy, right? So anyway, that's mentioned here. The lawyer, a one-toothed man with a sprinkling of silver dust on his unshaven cheeks, smiled, exposing his bare gums. Just like this lawyer is also an old person, right? We know Jagan is somewhere around 55, right? When we started this. So now some time has passed by, but even this guy, this lawyer, is a classmate of Jagan, but he has only one tooth. කට ඇරියම එක දතයි තියෙන්නේ, right? And අනිත් එක ඔක්කොම වීදුරුවා කටේ. Just imagine person open his mouth and just have one tooth, right? And he's just open his ears and just gave a smile, right? එක දතක් තියාගෙන hina වෙනකොට කොහොම ලස්සනක් at the man in this situation, right? The one-toothed man with a sprinkling of silver dust on his unshaven cheeks. It's kind of a sprinkling of silver dust, maybe kind of a little bit of makeup, right? In those days, I don't know, right? On his unshaven cheeks, smiled, exposing his bare gums, means he's showing this gum, right? Tooth gum, right? I got to go home. Some parties are waiting for me. I mean, hurry. In a desperate way, he said, I mean, මට පොඩි හදිස්සියක් මේ. ඒ කියන්නේ දැන් දන්නවා මෙතන මේ කෝච් එකට තමයි මම යට වෙන්න යන්නේ. ඊට ඉස්සෙල්ලා මිනිහා හදන්නේ එමින් මාරු වෙන්න. කෝච් එකට යට වෙනවා කියන්නේ, you know the meaning, the literal meaning of it. පැයකට හෙල්ලෙන්න හම්බෙන්නේ මේකගේ මේ දේවල් අහගෙන ගියාම, right? He don't want to listen to this crap, right? He doesn't want to listen to this shitty things that Jagan has to say. So he want to just run home, rush home, right? And he may be giving an excuse here, right? False excuse in the way, I have to go home. Some parties are waiting for me. And Jagan don't let go. Jagan doesn't let go. That's the funniest part. I won't take more than a minute. Just 1 minute, right? Just 1 minute. I have to say this to you, right? Jagan said, I felt you'd be happy to know Mali has returned. I mean, like, it's a good news that Mali has returned to me, from America, right? He says to the one-tooth lawyer, right? A John lawyer. Have you received a telegram? Ask the lawyer to you. You remember, Nataraj asked the same question. Then Jagan has to say something, right? Mali is prudent not to waste 10 rupees in a case he can spend 10 cents. Again, this lawyer asked the same question. Have you sent telegram, right? And what was the matter with everybody, right? Jagan thinks inside himself, right? What the heck? Why are these people so obsessed with telegrams? මොකද මේ මුන්ට වෙලා තියෙන්නේ? මේ මේ හැමතිස්සෙම telegram එකක් ආවද කියලා අහන්නේ, right? The matter with everybody. Jagan felt annoyance at the tendency of people to get obsessed with telegrams. I mean, like, Jagan felt a little upset, annoyed, little bit irksome, little bit angry inside, kind of anger, right? Annoyed of the tendency, means the inclination, or tendency means a habit here of people just to get obsessed with, means like over concerned, they are very attached, or they are very obsessed. Obsessed means like they are a little crazy about the telegram. So why is this craziness on people just asking always, is it a telegram, right? And yeah, uh, after all, why spend 10 rupees when 10 cents can bring over a letter from 4 days? Right? I mean, like the reply here for the one tooth lawyer is like, why would someone spend more cash on a telegram, or in other words, an instant message, when 10 cents can bring the same message after 4 days from America to Malgudi? Jagannath is from the lawyer, right? 4 days? Said the lawyer. Lawyer doubt this word, right? It doesn't take 4 days for a normal letter to come from America to Malgudi. No, 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 you must be mistaken. No, 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 it doesn't take 4 days. It takes longer than that. It takes at least 15 days, says the lawyer. No, no, it's not like 4 days. It takes almost 2 weeks just to, more than 2 weeks, like 15 days, just to receive a letter from regular mail from America to Malgudi, says the lawyer. I'm like, lawyer is right, right? Normally it takes that duration. So in this case, lawyer is correct, right? Jagan is just giving lies all this time. He didn't have facts, right? But lawyer speaks to, uh, lawyer has the fact here, right? Uh, that was the limit. How presumptuous of the man to talk of America while he was there to provide first hand information. People's notions are fixed. Stupid fellows, frogs in the well. Jagan thinks to himself, like, that was the limit. Oh, that's enough, right? Yeah, I mean, like, see this guy. He speaks like as if he know about America. How does he know about America? He thinks about this lawyer, one tooth lawyer, right? How presumptuous of the man. I mean, like excessively forward. I mean, like, how can he say like that? How can he say to me like that, right? Just like it takes more than 4 days, right? How does he know? Okay, write down the word presumptuous. You don't know if you don't know the meaning. It's like excessively forward, presumptuous. It's like forward and kind of assuming, right? Uh, so don't be presumptuous in the school. Teachers don't like it. Some teachers like it, some teachers don't like it. If you are being excessively forward, right? Teachers can be offended by that, right? So that's the same thing here. He's like thinking the lawyer was very presumptuous, very forward just to say these things to his face. Of the man to talk about America while he was there to provide first hand information, because I am the one who knows about America more than the lawyer, right? Thinks Jagan. People's notions are fixed. People's ideas are fixed these days. They have like very rigid ideas. Right? They don't want to learn from others. Right? Because I'm the one who knows about America more than the lawyer. And that's why I try to tell this lawyer about America. And this guy thinks he knows best. Right? Stupid fellows. Idiots. Right? Frogs in the well. Frogs in the well are limited in perspectives. Right? You can use that as idiom when you write even English essays, right? Frogs in the well is an idiom for a person who doesn't see outside the well. I mean, like the world is bigger outside, right? When you are a frog in the well, right, inside the well, you can't see outside clearly. You only see a very limited perspective of the sky or anything from the top of the well, right? But the outer world is totally different, right? So he thinks like other people don't. I mean, like this lawyer doesn't know anything. He's like frog in the well, right? Actually, on the other side, who's the frog in the well? You have to decide for yourself, right? Ahead of him is a chemist at the door, right? That's another guy, right? While he's passing, he's going to the shop. He didn't still go to the shop, right? මේ කඩේට යන්නේ නැහැ දැන් මේ. කඩේට යන්න පරක්කුයි. කඩේට යන්න ඉස්සෙල්ලා එක එක තැන්වල නැවති නැවති එක එක්කෙනාට තෙල් බෙද බෙද තමයි මේ යන්නේ කඩේ, right? තෙල් බෙදනවා කියන්නේ දැන් මෙතන මේ ඇමරිකාව ගැන කතා කරනවා අනවශ්‍ය දේවල්, right? And ahead of him is another chemist at the door, looking down at the street. He greeted Jagan warmly. Rather late today. Chemist asked from Jagan, right? I see you. Are you late today for the shop? Chemist asked. Chemist is a kind of a person who just gives medicine. Rather late today, he said with a lot of friendliness. Yes, I know, Jagan said. Yeah, I'm late. I know. Jagan said, approaching him eagerly. I mean, like very happily he went to chemist, right? The postman was rather late today. Well, when one has a son living so far away, I mean, like he kind of take this opportunity just to jump into his favorite subject. Yes, I'm late today. I was waiting the postman. I was waiting for the postman to have a letter. When you have a son in abroad, you are waiting for the postman. You have to wait for the postman to check out whether there is any mail, any messages, right? In other words, right? Uh, you have to get this, right? This story of Mecca, right? Mecca ගැන කතාව අහලා ඇතිනේ. දැන් ඔයාලා වගේ ළමයෙකුට රචනයක් ලියන්න දුන්නා ඉස්කෝලේ, right? හැබැයි එක එක දැන් ටීචර් දෙනවා රචන. එක කොල්ලෙක් ඉන්නවා ඌ දන්නේ මැක්ක ගැන ලියන්න විතරයි. අනිත් සත්තු මොකෙක්වත් නැහැ. බල්ලා ගැන ලියන්න දුන්නාම ඌ පටන් ගන්නවා. බල්ලා ගෙදර ඇති කරන සුරසල් සතෙක්. ඌගේ ඇඟේ ලෝම ඇත. ඒ ලෝමවල මැක්කෝ වෙසෙති. මැක්කෝ ඇත. අන්න දැන් පටන් ගන්න. ඌ දන්න දේ මැක්කෝනේ. මැක්ක කලුයි, මැක්ක ලේ බොනවා, මැක්ක is a parasite. I think ඒක was පිළලයක්. ඉතින් මැක්කුන්ගෙන් ලෙඩ බෝ වෙනවා. ඊට පස්සේ මැක්ක ගැන රචන කරන හැරෙනවා මේක, right? දැන් බලමු ටීචර් ඊට පස්සේ දුන්න හරිය. Write about a cow. හරක ගැන යන්නකෝ. දැන් මම පටන් ගත්තා. හරකා අනිත් ඔක්කොම හරක ගැන ලියනවා නේ ළමයි. මොකේ රචනෙ තමයි තියෙන්නේ මෙහෙමයි. මේ හරකාගෙන් ප්‍රයෝජන ඇත. හරකාගේ හැමේ හැම වයි වර්ණයි ඒ වයි වර්ණ පාට ඇත. ඒ හරකාගේ හැමේ මැක්කෝ ජීවත් වෙති. හරක පටන් ගත්තා. මැක්ක කලුයි, මැක්ක ලේ බොනවා, මැක්ක ජීවත් ඒ විදිහට අර රචනෙම තමයි දැන් ඒක මැක්ක. ඒක උඩ හැම සතෙක් දුන්නම මූ ලියන්නේ මැක්ක ගැනමයි. හරි දැන් ටීචර් දැන් ටිකක් අප්සෙට් දැන් වැඩි. හරි දෙන්නම්කෝ කොට. හරි ලියන් ගෙදර ඇති කරන සුරතල් මස්සුන් ගැන. ගෝල්ෆිෂ් ගැන ලියන්න රචන. අනිත් ඔක්කොම ළමයි දෙන ගෝල්ෆිෂ් ලස්සන මාළුවෙක්, ගෝල්ෆිෂ් වතුරේ පින්නවා. ඒක ගෝල්ෆිෂ් ගේ පාට ඉමු පටන් ගත්ත දැන් මුගේ රචන ලියන්න right. දුවන්නේ ගෝල්ෆිෂ් මාළුවෙකි. මාළුවගේ ඇඟේ මැක්කෝ නැත. මැක් බැරදිලාවත් මාළුවගේ ඇඟේ මැක්කෙක් හිටියනම් මැක්ක කලුයි, මැක්ක ලේ බොනවා, මැක්ක අන්න පරණ කතන්දර ටික කියන්න ගත්තා, right? So why am I just giving this thing is like Jagan is acting in the same way, right? He is anyway coming to this subject of America anyhow, right? That's the idea here. That's what you have to get, right? That's the parallel here I want to show you, right? So yes, he says to this chemist, yes, I know, said Jagan, approaching him eagerly. The postman was rather late today. When one has a son living far away, just he started that going back to America, right? Has he reached America safely? Asked the chemist from Jagan, right? Is he gone safely to America? Yes, I was somewhat anxious for 2 or 3 days. Yes, I was anxious. I was disturbed till this boy reached America, like 2 or 3 days. Other boys would have wasted money on a telegram. I mean, like other boys would immediately go to America and send a telegram just to inform these things to father that I have safely arrived, right? But a letter at a tenth of cost take only couple of days more. I mean, like Mali send me only a letter. I mean, like it's very cheap. I mean, like it's very frugal, right? It's very economic in part of Mali and very smart in part of Mali. He only sent me a letter, right? Just to say that he safely arrived. Before the chemist asked, did he send the telegram? Jagan immediately explained, right, why Mali sent a letter to him like this, right? Telling and giving reasons, right? Couple of days more. He's prudent, right? Mali's smart, right? That's do you note that? Jagan asked from the chemist. Before chemist asked that kind of question, like, did he send a telegram, right? What's the postage? I mean, like, do you get the irony here, right? What's the postage? You can කොච්චර විතර යනවද cost එක postage එකට letter එකේ මේකේ වෙනස, right? I want to send a free catalog from Sears Roebuck, right? So I want to send for a free catalog from I mean, like he said he want to send a catalog for this kind of a product, right? It's like a trade name here. It's like a trademark name, just like Adidas or just kind of what is trade names, right? So Sears Roebuck is a kind of trade name, and it is an interesting book. Uh, and it's an interesting book. It will give us wonderful ideas on all sort of things. Say this chemist, right? Maybe it's kind of a book related to his work, right? So he's asking this: what is the cost of uh, postage to America, right? Because he want to just correspond accordingly. And Jagan almost groaned when the other asked, "What's the equivalent of 50 cents?" Right? I mean, like Jagan almost groaned means Jagan makes sounds. Huh? Uh, uh, Now you may think like, what is this? Like Jagan may groan when the other asked, "What's the equivalent of 50 cents?" Which is the postage for the catalog. Like, what is 50 cents, right? Uh, Turned or converted into these currencies, what's the exchange rate range? Chemist asked from Jagan, right? He want to know the precise price because he was planning to get this catalog, right? Uh, he want to send a free catalog. But Jagan groaned. Jagan don't know the exact amount. He's not good in that much in calculation. Whether he can fastly count money, that's a different thing. But calculations and these things, right, are just like technical jargon or technical problems for Jagan. He's not that smart in these things, and he groaned. Just made a sound, right? Uh, you know. And he passed on. None of so good as the cousin. I mean, like he passed on means he left the chemist. Uh, None so good as the cousin. I mean, like no one is good to tell this information of Mali being to America than cousin. Cousin is the ideal person to share this information for Jagan, right? Who deserved all the sweets he ate for listening capacity. I mean, like, oh my God, cousin is a good listener. He not only just eats freely, but also he freely listens without objecting or without asking dumb questions, without asking stupid questions, whatever the crap that, whatever the dirt, whatever the garbage, whatever the gossip that Jagan says, cousin listens, right? That's a big help. Sometimes some people want to listen just to tell whatever the stuff they want to say, right? There are certain people like that. So Jagan is such a person. He's like a kind of talkative person, right? All the others in the town were obsessed with their own notions. Like other people in the town have their own ideas, right? Own fixed ideas about every issue. So we can't tell things to these people, right? They are very judgmental, in other words, right? They are judging, they are fixed in their notions, they have ideas, right? So, but Cousin is good, Cousin listens. They are ignorant and resisted enlightenment on the subject of America. So these people in the town know. ඒ කියන්නේ ටවුන් එකේ ඉන්න මිනිස්සු හරි පඬිතයි. ඒගොල්ලෝ හැමදේම දන්නවා. ඒකින්ද එයාලට මම මේ ඇමරිකාව ගැන කියලා දෙන්න ගියාම ඒව අහන්න ඕන නැහැ. Right? So he was ignorant and resisted enlightenment. It means like that now Jagan thinks he has enlightenment in America, about the subject of America. I mean like ඇමරිකාව ගැන සියල්ල දත් ඇමරිකාව ගැන ලොකු දැනුමක් තියෙන පුද්ගලයෙක් හැටියට තමයි ජේගන් තමන් ගැන දැන් හිතන්නේ ඉන්නේ. මේ එයා මේල් දෙක තුනක් මේල් තාම එකයි කියෙව්වේ, right? Just like a subject of America. When he was sitting in his seat, the head cook came to ask of the day's program. As usual, cook comes in the morning, right? Head cooks comes and do this conversation just to make sure, like, what are the plans for the day's program. Jagan repeated the formula. Jagan said what he repeats every day, what he is supposed to do today, repeated the formula, and then added a postscript as a favor to his cook. I mean, like he added a postscript. Postscript means PS, right? You see in some letters on the bottom, right? After the letter is written, you see the word P colon S colon, right? Or P dot S dot. I mean, like the idea is postscripts, right? Postscripts means once you forgot something to say in a letter, suddenly you remember it. Now you have written the letter, you can't include that idea in the letter. So what you do is underneath the letter, you put the word postscript, right? S and write the idea you have forgotten to include in the letter on the bottom of the letter. That's called postscript. So postscript, the idea is that something you have initially missed to say or missed to deliver in your message. You say it secondarily. It's a postscript, right? So as the here, like after Jagan talked to the cook, he missed something as if he added a postscript, right? Postscript as a favor to the cook. Mali has safely reached the other end, and this is a big relief to me. It's a huge country with a lot of motor cars. Everyone has a car there. Says this thing to the cook, right? What does it mean to the cook? What's that to the cook, right? About America? Does cook care about America? But no, even his cares or don't cares is not relevant to Jagan, right? He want to say things to him. අහන් හිටියද අහන් ඉන්නේ නැද්ද ඒවා දාන්නේ ඒව කියන්න තමයි ජයගන්ට ඕන කියන්න තමයි ඕන කතා කරන්න ඕන ඇමරිකාව ගැන කාටද කියන්න තමයි මේ උණ තියෙන්නේ දැන් right just like he is suffering from a kind of obsession, suffering from a kind of madness, craze, right? That's what he called a little bit crazy, right? Everyone has a car there in America, which is very far from the truth. Not every person in America has a car, right? Even at that time, even in today, it's the same, right? So he says like these things, like all this second-hand kind of talk, right? The cook listened respectfully and turned away without a comment. Listen to what Jagan said and just like very respectfully he listened, right? And turned and he went to the kitchen. He didn't talk about America, right? Jagan felt relieved that the fellow had not stopped to ask about telegrams or the equivalent of a send. Jagan is very content with his cook, right? The cook is the only one didn't ask whether son sent a telegram or like what is the exchange rate between the money the postage and the telegram cost, right? What is 10 cents and what is right the difference, right? Those questions cook didn't ask, and the cook has other work to do, right? He came just to ask what to do for the day because he's busy with doing those things, right? Cook was not concerned about Mali going to America or these things, right? What Jagan says, it's not his business, so that's why he didn't raise any question. So, but still, Jagan felt happy after saying all this to Cook, right? Cook didn't ask these kind of questions the other people asked, right? Maybe Cook is not that educated just to ask these questions, right? Anyway, he had to hold his soul in peace until 4:30 when the cousin arrived. Till now, from the morning, we know the shop opens somewhere around in the morning, very morning, somewhere around 7, and the shop runs somewhere around 7:30, right, in the afternoon, right, the PM, right? So he was waiting till 4:30 in the evening till as regularly cousin comes to the shop, right? 4:30 when the cousin arrived, passed straight into the saver and came out of the kitchen as usual. Cousin don't talk to Jagan when he comes to the shop. He straight goes to the kitchen. That's it, right? And after some time he comes out of the kitchen. Jagan said with a quiet firmness, and when cousin is ready to talk, in a cousin's mood now after his food, after the sweets, the boy has reached the other end safely. Jagan says to cousin, boy has go to America and he's going to the other end safely, right? His passage is safe. He flourished a fragment of the air letter in a special favor, forwarding the cousin a glimpse of the letter while he had only mentioned it to others. Now, he takes his letter, Jagan takes his letter, show a part of that letter to cousin, right? To prove that Mali has sent him a letter, but previously he didn't show this AR letter, this part of the AR letter. The AR letter is torn now, right? He doesn't have a complete AR letter. He only has parts of this AR letter, right? Right? As a witness, I mean, like as a kind of proof, right? But for the previous people, when he talk about this thing, he didn't even show this thing. He only showed this even partly to cousin, right? A glimpse of the letter while he had only mentioned it to others. There you go. Excellent news. I know he'd been all right, he said, smacking his lips, right? As usual, he's smacking his lips of that sweet, right? And said, excellent news. I know he'd be all right. I know. I definitely knew Mali will be okay, right? He didn't send a telegram. Suddenly cousin also asked, right? He didn't send a telegram. Didn't Mal immediately reply to you? Right? Yes, yes. Why should he? Jagan replies, right? Jagan don't like this question, but anyway, he says, yes, yes. Why should he? Yeah. Why would Mali send a telegram? Letters arrive so quickly nowadays. Nowadays, letters are coming very fast, just like telegrams, right? You must offer a couple of coconuts to Ganesha at the corner temple, and Jagan gives order to Kasim. You must offer a couple of coconuts to Ganesha at the corner temple. Who's this Ganesha? Means Ganesh, right? Uh, Ganesh means who is this Ganesh? The elephant god, right? In our words, it's the same. Ganadeyu, right? Ganadeyu is in charge of education, intelligence, and he's the he has this powers over to influence people, students, right, in their education and further achievements. So he says like you have to do an offering, put some couple of coconuts to Ganesha, right? So Jagan orders Kasim. Surely it goes without saying. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Surely it goes without saying means ඔයා කියන දෙයක් නෑ හරි හරි. වැඩේ මං කරලා තියන්නම්, right? Surely it goes without saying. You don't have to say about those things. Said Jagan as if there were a specific contract between uh, yeah yes. So surely it goes without saying, said Jagan as if there were a specific contract between himself and the god in the matter of his son's safety. As if, the idea is, why these people are offering these things to gods? Did you ask the question? I mean, like, uh, God has to be a businessman, in other words, right? Even God, that people give things and just ask things in Him in return, right? හිතන්නකෝ ගිහිල්ලා පඳුරක් ගැට ගහලා දෙයියෝගේ ආරක්ෂාව ඉල්ලනවා. දෙයියෝ ටිකක් මේක මොකක් හරි බිස්නස් එකක් දන්නේ දෙයියොත් කරන්නේ මේ සල්ලි අරගන්නවා මිනිස්සු දෙනකොට මිනිස්සු සල්ලි අරන් දෙයියෝ සර්විස් එකක් දෙනවා මිනිස්සුන්ට. එහෙම දෙයක්ද වෙන්නේ, right? Just think about those things, right? That's what it says here in indirect way. The God is in the matter of his own safe. Sorry, if there is were a specific contract between himself and the God in the matter of some safety, as if, right, if Jagan can offer two coconuts, right? No, not two. I mean a couple of coconuts to the God. God in the return give a safety assurance. It's like a life insurance, right? To Mali, it's like a contract, right? Jagan gives coconuts, God gives life protection, right? It's like a deal. It's like a contract between God and Jagan, as if he's talking these things as if like he has this contract, right? Always, it means like it's like a God is kind of a in this part of transaction, right? Uh, Yeah, it shall be done this very evening, said Kasim, right? Yeah, today evening I'll do that, says Kasim, right? I'll buy the coconut on my way, said the Kasim. No, sorry. It shall be done this very evening, says Jagan. Jagan says, today evening itself you have to finish this business of, offering coconuts to Ganesha, right? Yeah, I'll buy the coconuts on my way, said Kasim. Yeah, I'll buy the coconuts while I'm going, right? Don't worry. And immediately Jagan snatched up a coin from his drawer and handed it to the other. Immediately he took some cash from his drawer and gave that cash to Kasim just to fix this coconut thing, right, to Ganesh. I feel a great burden on my head today. When someone goes on such long pilgrimages, especially if he is flying, it's always a worry, although one doesn't talk about it, right? So I feel a great burden off my head today means like, oh my God, I'm relieved today. Like a lot of my pain, headache inside my head is free today because I was always worried about Mali traveling in airplanes, right? Now I am free, now I'm happy, right? My mind is clear today. A feel of great burden. Burden means a great trouble, great something that bugs you, right? A burden, a kind of a weight uh, of my head today, out of my head today. And when someone goes on such pilgrimage, when someone goes in such a distant journey, pilgrimages and traveling are two different things, but anyway, it's used in a very synonymous in a kind of interchangeable way here. Just to give the idea, it's a long journey from Malgudi to America, right? Uh, yes, especially if he's flying, it's a long worry, and although one doesn't talk about it. I know, said the cousin. Yeah, 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 I understand, I understand. What does he say about himself? What does Malik tell about himself? Asked Jagan, asked cousin from Jagan, right? He likes the new experience. He enjoys this new experience in America. Of course, lots of tall buildings and cars everywhere, like big, big buildings and big cars and everywhere, right? I hope he will walk carefully in the streets. He says the food is good. I'm relieved. I mean, like, I hopefully think that he will walk carefully in the streets because there are too many cars and too many vehicles, right? Malik can't walk in I mean, like America, as he walked in Malgudi, he has to be extra careful there, right? Unless he faces accidents, right? And he says the food is good. He says food is top there. I mean, like he said in the letter, what did he say? He said food is difficult, right? But Jacob just, kind of alters those things and just change these things sometimes and tell something else. I am relieved. I'm happy. I'm like my burden is over, right? From my chest, from my head. It's a country of millionaires. Everyone is rich. America. Everyone is rich in America. Like everyone is millionaires. සල්ලිකාරුන්ගේ රටක් හැම එකම සල්ලිකාරයෝ ඇමරිකාවේ. Everyone is rich. And Jagan says this to who? Cousin, right? That is the way he introduced this country to Cousin.